Good evening, this is woodblock printmaker Dave Bull, speaking to our fans and supporters from our shop here in Asakusa in Tokyo. When I first became a solo printmaker back in the 1980s, I learned that it was very important to be active on social media. At the time, I never sold prints individually, but made a living by having subscribers to my work. People waited for the new one to arrive every month. But just a minute, did I say social media in the late 1980s? Well, there was of course no Facebook and YouTube back then. For me, social media took the form of a paper newsletter that I produced and sent to subscribers 4 times a year. It performed exactly the same function that Facebook does these days. It kept my subscribers and fans informed about what I was doing and what was happening in my world. I included interviews with craftsmen. I talked about the work itself. And I even featured interviews with some of the collectors too. No joke, this was real and interactive social media. I made it a habit every year to include an annual report for my supporters. This had information on recent media coverage, how the annual exhibition had gone, and included a complete financial statement for the previous year. I always felt that it was important to keep my subscribers and supporters both aware and involved in how things were going for me during both up years and down years. And there were plenty of both along the way. I started that first subscription series back in 1989, and here's a graph showing the overall income since then. The numbers on these graphs and charts, by the way, are in yen. For a quick mental switch to US dollars, just think of the values as thousands. When you see 50 on this graph, that's roughly $50,000. It's been quite a ride. The blue sections of this graph are where I was making prints completely by myself, carving and printing everything and mailing everything out to subscribers. The first 10 years of it here was the long 100 Poets series, started on a shoestring, but making a nice living by the end. This was followed by a number of different projects, some more successful than others. Now here in 2006, where this green color appears, marks the beginning of the Mokuhankan project, where I began to publish prints together with hired craftsmen and sold them through an online website. 2012 here, this is the beginning of the collaboration with Jed Henry, the Ukiyo-e Heroes project. Both single prints, that's the red areas here, and subscriptions, the yellowish area. And then a couple of years later, 2014, saw the opening of the Asakusa shop, colored here in purple. These past few years have been so much fun, We're making tons of beautiful prints and spreading them literally all around the world. There are now 18 people working here, not all of them full-time, but for most of them, it's the most important part of their income. The wonderful work we have done together with Jed is finding its way into major museum collections. And every month, hundreds of people laugh their way out of this building after having a print party. I have no way to quantify the amount of smiles and happiness we are bringing to the world. And a very strong argument can be made that we're the ones responsible for bringing this entire craft back to life. Up to 5 years ago, it was very nearly moribund. But now with every other publisher in town having jumped onto the Pop Culture Plus Ukiyo-e bandwagon, every craftsman in town is busy. The papermakers are drowning in orders, and things are looking pretty good for traditional woodblock printmaking here in Japan. But even with all this, we here at Mokuhankan now have reached a kind of crisis point, and the problem is me and how I'm using my time. If you have watched a bunch of our videos, the series on the Great Wave or making the Ukiyo-e Heroes prints, you're probably thinking of me as a carver and printer. I wish. These days, my life is very, very different. Let me count the ways. Our daily, weekly, and monthly bookkeeping, I do it all. We use a pro for the yearly tax returns only. Our web work, the shopping cart, the online print catalog updating, I do it all. Writing and maintaining the complete suite of custom software we use to run our business, both on the Mac and for our back-end management system, it's all done by me. The sizing work for preparing our printmaking paper, that's me. Although good news, Lee-san, as one of our staffers, has now taken over making the blank wood blocks. It's a great help for me. All the staff planning, which prints to work on, which printers for which job, making sure the blocks are arranging the paper, that's me. Whatever training of the printers that's getting done here, it's of course coming from me, although not much of this recently. The monthly payroll processing, that's me. all of the communication with each and every customer about each and every print order and party reservation, that's me. Print parties, other staff, Teiko-san and Kawai-san, they're assisting with this, but I've done myself more than 130 of them this year. The subscription planning, what prints to make, the hunch, the tracing, the preparation, the color separation, that's me. Videos, it's all me. Planning, writing, sitting in front of the camera. There's nobody behind the camera. There's the clicker. It's all me, including the editing. The Facebook page, the blog, the social media, this is all my job. Running the business overall, the product planning, what to publish, who to hire, how to allocate resources, what can we spend money on. Did I forget anything? Probably. Now, if we had a bean counter type coming in here to advise us on what to do, I know exactly what he would say. Dave, hire people to do a bunch of those routine jobs and get busy with the work that only you can do. Get carving, get back to your bench and finish that damn octopus. Then get busy with the next one, the next one. He would tell me to make more and better videos. This is something I really bring value to us with. And of course, I could get back to work on that project to make high quality carving tools that we started up a few years ago. That's what his advice would be. So why haven't I done this? Why haven't I hired people to do these daily routine jobs? Because I just can't afford to. My bank account runs to zero each and every month, just getting our prints made and paying everybody and keeping the shop in operation. And the killer is, because I myself don't take a salary, I have priced all those jobs in that list I just gave you. I've priced all the things I do at zero cost. I have kind of trained this organization to get on that work for free. Our profit last year, the money left over after expenses, was just a smidgen below 5%, which I think is probably not bad. From that I paid my income taxes and medical insurance, I got my food, and the rest was just plowed straight back in. Now, I'm convinced that this place is viable. It's just that I'm in that catch-22. If I could just get away from my damn computer and get back to my real work, the carving and video, I could create tons more revenue. But without that revenue here first, I can't hire those people to cut me loose to get back. You see where I am. So let's try and string this together. Our business is fine. We're making and selling lots of prints, and people who want to support us are doing so that way. But we have no access to funding that would help us move the organization to a more stable and profitable level. But there are plenty of people out there who would love to help us with this. There's an obvious approach staring me in the face. It's clearly time for me to consider setting up a Patreon account. Over the last few days, I've been thinking and working on how best to do that. And although I'm really torn about this, I'm kind of running out of options right now. So I'm going to take the plunge and give this a try. I have created a page on the Patreon website which outlines how small amounts of fan support can provide a specific path for me to get back to that carving bench. I hope that enough of you will find it worthwhile looking over there and then perhaps participating at even the smallest of levels. And feeling kind of optimistic about this, I've already begun a search for the first staff member that I would hire under this financing program. If these things do indeed come together, my days of long hours at the keyboard might be behind me. Now, excuse me, I think I'll head back to my bench back there, do some dusting, and then sharpen the rust off my chisels. Thank you again, and I'll see you real soon with a real video next time.